Hey everybody, checking in again this week about reading through the Bible in 1 year. This week we are in the book of Luke, and it is the last gospel, is the fourth and final. And last week, as I shared with you, when I had Shirley here with me, I let you know that the reason we're reading Luke last and not in order that it's in the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, we read John before Luke, is because Luke also wrote the book of Acts, and we'll read the book of Acts next. So it's kind of just this opportunity for us to kind of go all the way through with the same author. Hey, speaking of authorship, I think it's kind of interesting to note a couple of things. You may have noticed that two of the authors of the gospel were not firsthand accounts of Jesus' life. So that just means that they did not walk with Jesus, they didn't live life with Jesus, they were not one of his disciples, but they learned secondhand about the experiences that they wrote down in one of the Gospels. So let's see, Mark and Luke were both the two that did not live their lives alongside of Jesus. Now Matthew and John did, so those are firsthand accounts, and so it's interesting to kind of see the two differences. Neither of them, neither Mark or Luke or Matthew or John are more important than the other. They're all there on purpose, and we believe that God had them be in our Bibles on purpose. He wants us to read them all. But it's just interesting to note that two of them are direct accounts, what they experienced right there firsthand, living life, doing life with Jesus, and two of them were secondhand accounts based on what we think they learned from people who did live life alongside Jesus. And both would have done a really good job of taking good account and being pretty accurate with what they experienced, because ultimately, just like you and like me, they would want people to know Jesus. They would want them to know and understand his love for them and all he did for them and just what it was like to experience Jesus firsthand, even though two of these guys absolutely did not. Another thing about Luke in this gospel is this. He was a historian. He was kind of an artist. People believe that his gospel is actually one of the most beautiful gospels because he does a good job of painting a picture. He's where we get the Christmas story. He's where we get Mary's Magnificat, where she actually sings this beautiful song about learning that she is pregnant with Jesus and how she connects with that moment. And lots of other different examples of really tying to history and tying to kind of anchoring down what Luke wants to say, and like I said, painting a picture of it. So some people say that Luke is their absolute favorite gospel because of this. So if you're a historian, you like details, maybe you are an artist, you'll really, really love this gospel. And again, like I said, next week we'll be heading into the book of Acts, where we're going to hear just a continuation. This is after Jesus' death and resurrection, then we see kind of what happens. And we get to see that from the same author that we are reading this week, Luke, who's going to tell us all about that. One really cool note about that too is people or historians, theologians believe that Luke actually was really close with Paul, and that's how he knows a lot about Jesus' life. And Paul had this awesome interaction with Jesus on the road to Damascus in the book of Acts, and Luke tells all about that. And of course, there would have been a lot of other Jesus followers who got to experience Jesus' miracles and miraculous signs and basically all this material that was pointing to the fact that he absolutely was the Messiah. Luke talks about those both in his gospel and of course in the book of Acts as people walked out life after Jesus. So stay tuned for that next week. Hang in there, keep reading. Make sure you remember that if you want to talk about what you're reading, you can always send me an email. If you have questions, you can always send any of us an email, grab us, and we'll kind of help you walk through it. Even if we don't know the answers, we'll talk about it. And then on Wednesdays, we are still doing the Bible Project during our Wednesday community dinner and groups night. So if you want to talk more about it in a group setting, make sure you sign up for that. All right, you guys, that's it for me this week. I'll see you next week. Take care.